Hi, everyone, and welcome to the first Iceni Women's Series powered by ROCACORBA Collective. I am joined by Alice Lethbridge, and we are being broadcast professionally by Damon Bates. So get ready for some awesome footage of the races to come. Today we have Douce France, which is the first of a 4-week series starting today. We'll have Gentile 8, Figure 8, and Chasing the Sun following. This is a super exciting series where the Femme Collab and the Warrior Games are presenting Iceni, powered by ROCACORBA. And ROCACORBA Collective is a inclusive indoor cycling community founded by pro cyclist Ashley Moolman-Pastillo in 2021, with a mission to empower and uplift women through a shared passion for cycling. While rooted in female empowerment, the collective welcomes men who support its values. Membership offers access to training, mentorship, and a vibrant social experience, helping cyclists of all levels, from grassroots to pro, reach their full potential. It's more than a cycling club, it's a movement committed to growth, camaraderie, and impact, with a portion of the proceeds helping young girls in South Africa through education in cycling. At the heart of the ROCACORBA Collective is the team racing culture on Zwift. It's pretty unique where ROCACORBA has their elite women race at 6 p.m. UK time each week in ZRL. And then those same women turn around and DS their community level racers at 7 p.m. So it's where pros and beginners learn side by side and celebrate everyday effort and help riders unlock their full potential. It's pretty special that this atmosphere allows racers to immediately turn around and help racers through that same course where they have a unique perspective having just suffered through it. So ROCACORBA is more than just cycling. It's about belonging to something bigger. Whether chasing podiums or simply seeking supportive space to ride and grow, their community thrives on the power of riding together and uplifting each other and racing with purpose. I think that's pretty awesome. I think it's in line with our whole thing on the Femme Collab, if you haven't been part of it, where we collect different team leaders and we destigmatize racing for women, and we really make it an easy place to step in and grow and learn and succeed. So on to this series. It's going to be a pretty interesting 4 weeks because there are prizes, and prizes are not common for community level races. And these prizes are pretty awesome. Everything from a 2-night stay at ROCACORBA cycling in Girona, which is supposedly beautiful, to I've never been there. Damn it. But then there's the ROCACORBA gear that you can win. There's coupons or discounts to Ass Magic, which really makes you want to go Google it, but in a safe space. And this is all going to unfold across a 4-week series. And on to the categories, because I'm talking too much, and then I'm going to go over to Alice, and she's going to give you an overview of today's race. So just quickly, we've got 5 pens going. We've got category A in the Garmin jersey, 500 to 1,000 racing score. We've got Cat B in the ROCACORBA Collective jersey, if you have a racing score 375 to 499. The Femme Collab, in category C, 250 to 374. Category D is in Watch the Party ROCACORBA jersey, 125 to 249. And then the Tour de France Femme avec Zwift jersey will be for those riders in category E, with a racing score of 0 to 124. So altogether, we have almost 280 women signed up for this race. And of course, we'll have fewer than that start, as always happens, but it's a pretty awesome field for something other than ZRL, probably the biggest field I've seen outside of ZRL. So should be amazing. And again, if you don't know Alice, I feel like you've been living under a rock, because she's been doing elite racing for a super long time. Most recently with Coalition, and she's been leading the Coalition elite team for a couple years, and she kicks ass outside and inside. And I don't know, I feel like if you don't know, just go Google her. So, Alice, what do you got for us?
Thanks, Becca. Well, I'm going to talk through the course tonight, which is on paper, it looks like one of the easier courses on Zwift. It's fairly short at just 24 kilometers or just under 15 miles if you want to go with the miles, and only 133 meters of elevation. But it's a really hard course because that elevation comes all over the place. It starts with what is affectionately known as l'intestine on Zwift, which is rollers. You go round, you go up and down, and it is really, really hard to stay in the draft around there. You've got to be super on it right from the start. So it's a really dangerous start point, and also somewhere where people can attack and start to, show their strength in the course. We've then got 4 points on the course where riders can actually score points through sprints or Queen of the Mountains. So our first one is just under 7 kilometers in, which is the balance sprint. This is really, really short. It's only 200 meters, but it's quite a tactical one because there's a little kind of dip into it and then a rise and a dip again. So you got to get your timing right there. We then go to the aqueduct, which is called the Queen of the Mountains, but it is a sprint. It's about 40 seconds long. It's slightly uphill in the middle, but not a very strong gradient. And you will see basically anyone with a good 1 minute power is going to be going for the points there. On the descent, then straight into the pave sprint, which again is a pretty tactical one because it's on cobbles and you got a little turn in it. It's a little bit longer, just over 300 meters, so you don't want to go too early there, but at the same time you don't want to get left behind because the cobbles will slow the riders down a bit. Then our final one is the marina sprint, which takes us to the finish line. Again, a little corner there, so you've got to time it right. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out today. Riders only got 1 power up as well, so they've got to think where to use that wisely, whereas they're going to maximize their points. So I think the racing is going to get underway pretty soon. It'd be really interesting to see how riders use that power up today. Do they use it early when they think no one else is going to use it so that they can kind of steal a march, or do they save it for the end when people are that little bit more tired? I think you've got to play to your strengths on it and think like how good a sprinter you are as to, where you're going to deploy that.
Sounds super exciting. I love the using just 1 power up because I think it changes the game a lot, especially in a race like this with segments where everyone's going to try to go as fast as possible because the points are only awarded based on first through the segment. So they're FTS only, not FAL. So probably no breakaways unless you are, really confident in your ability to tail gun a sprint. And using a power up that only lasts 15 seconds is going to be extremely tactical. So
yeah, and definitely, and I think like the aero power up is like more tactical than people think as well. You got to get your timing right in terms of when you accelerate as well.
Yeah, I think that acceleration has been something I've been seeing recently with people trying to understand tactics and trying to understand other people's powers. When you look at racers, it's really hard to tell what their capacity for acceleration is, and it can make a really big difference in a race. So can't wait to see how people use it.
Yeah, and we've got, having looked at the lineup, we've got a really interesting mix of some real power sprinters today and then some riders who have got a longer duration. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how they approach these different segments.
Holy smokes, look at this. This is a giant peloton.
Giant blob heading their way into the intestines.
This will probably help those sprinters because I was thinking that the Ballon sprint, the only downside for a true sprinter is they have to get through these 3 bumps leading up to it. And but with this huge blob, easier to hang on in the middle of this draft.
Yeah, definitely. And it will be really important to try and like conserve their energy through here. So you can actually really come off the power on the slight descents, but then you've got to be careful as it rises, and the undulations change a little bit as you go through this section as well, so they're not even gradients. So you can already see there's a few little riders, just some gaps opening up, and they've got to be really careful here that they don't let those gaps go too much, because you can just get off the back so quickly. But at the same time, you don't want to be pushing on the front too much and wasting all your energy.
Yeah, I mean, you see someone in ROCACORBA off the front right now. She's definitely taking the brunt of it. Oh, she sucked back in. That's good. She's definitely taking the brunt of the win out there in front.
Yeah, definitely. We can see some of those top category riders starting to push a little bit on this. This is one of the slightly bigger rises through this section, so you can make a break here. Sarah Ola with the front. So Sarah, she's a really good time trialist. So this does not surprise me to see her pushing the pace on the front.
And you can tell that that's an A rider because she's in the Garmin jersey. So you can definitely see who's in the A, B, C, D, E categories just by their jerseys. Anybody in that light blue is a 500 plus racing score, which could equate to an A in the old categories, but also could be a B rider. I see a ton of our coalition women out there, and I won't see the purple jerseys today, but I do see a lot of those coalition signs popping up, which I love to see.
Yeah, so that would be interesting as well to see whether these teams can work together to help maybe their stronger riders when they're not in their team kit. I think that's always an interesting one to see, how well people can find each other, because I think, there's a couple of big sort of team presences throughout the categories.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to be super interested to see how this field splits up, because a points race generally will unfold with a slightly lower pace in between the segments, right? Because if you're a time trialist and you're on a team, then you probably want to support your sprinters, and those sprinters need to rest after they hit a segment. Once you go deep into the pain hole, you need to recover. So we'll see if they stay together, if the A's and B's do.
Yeah, definitely. And, the time trialists are still going to want to be trying to pick up some points today. I think that's the interesting thing as well. Like, everyone's going to want some individual points to be in for a chance at some of those awesome prizes. It will be very interesting to see what happens as we come out of this section.
And we see Randy in down below. She is one of those women that has an amazing sprint power. She's up well into the double digits for her short sprint. So when we look at their positioning, you're likely to see a lot of those sprinters falling back into the middle of the group so they can sprint through. And I'm not sure how PD5 affects this, Alice. I don't know if you've tested it yet, but you're not supposed to be able to go through someone. So I don't know how it affects running.
You can't go through someone so well, so you can't come through from the back the same way you used to, which means you've got to position yourself a bit more like you would in a real life sprint. But actually, Randy has a background in outdoor crit racing, so she's probably still going to be able, got the knowledge of how to do that in a big bunch. And yeah, she's got an absolutely phenomenal sprint, so she's definitely one of our ones to watch today.
So it looks like they're through those 3 bumps that kind of mark the first 3 kilometers of the race, and now they're into these tiny undulations that really go from like 3 kilometers to about 5 kilometers. So the first sprint is coming up at 6.75, so still a couple kilometers to go.
And it looks like we've got like the top 3 categories are still pretty much all together. So this will be really interesting as well to see if some of the, the BMC group riders will be able to get the draft of some of the A riders through the sprint as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've seen a group this big, even in ZRL. Like, the A fields are somewhere in the 50 to 70 range. And I don't know how big this front group is. Maybe Damon can help us by going to the back of this front group just to see how many racers we have in this front blob. Yeah,
that's definite. And it'll be really important to get the timing right coming into that first sprint with such a big group. So if you're too far back, you're going to be kind of through the sprint before you even realize.
Yeah. And I don't know that many racers have raced in PD5 if they're racing outside in their summer season. It is a very different, it is substantially different than PD4. And I notice it in ladder racing a lot. Your positioning is different if you have steering on, where it tucks you in and how you have to go around someone. The ability to block is even kind of something we're looking at. So
Damon's got it up for us there. It looks like it's about 90 riders in this front group, and you can see they've really slowed down because this new pack dynamics is definitely more like watching real life riding. You can see they've kind of bunched together more. It's not strung out at the minute. It's kind of you can almost feel the tension building coming into this first sprint. We're just over a kilometer out.
Yeah, Jamie, get off the front. Jamie, get off the front. There she goes. She's an amazing time trialist, but
it's coming downhill, so they should move past her slightly, and then hopefully she can get a bit of momentum again.
Yeah, she's one of those riders in the low 500s. That 500 plus pen is, I say with all love, an absolute hellscape, Alice. So
yeah, it's
when
pretty,
you join
it's
that,
pretty stacked. I noticed we've got so we've already mentioned Randy, who races in the elite races. I also noticed we've got Femme has snuck in. Now she's been racing outside in the national series in the Netherlands, and she's got a real little punch on her as well. So that'll be interesting to see how she comes through. And we've also got a couple of other riders in there who've competed at world championships in esports before. So yeah, we have some very, very top level riders in this field.
Yeah, we even have Anne Nevin in here, one of your teammates, Alice, and kind of just like an overall badass, but she comes from Nordic skiing. And so she's really able to just hold a really high threshold for a very, very long time, like a astonishingly long time. And so she could just keep the pace high and make everyone suffer if she wanted.
Definitely. Right. Oh, we're coming up to the sprint. Okay, so we can see someone's gone long, but wow, look at this. Who's this? Harriet Gilson.
Oh, and you see Randy jerking on those handlebars.
Yeah, look at this. Yeah. Look at this coming through. See, this is the downhill, and that's brilliant use of the momentum there by Horner. That was just timed to perfection.
Yeah, and I see a lot of names that I know up there. There's Anne that we just mentioned. We saw Jill Pruitt. She's on BL13. She's a great sprinter as well.
I've been on the receiving end of Jill Pruitt. Jill Pruitt has an awesome sprint, even when you're going hard. We were doing like up a mountain on Esports, and she just suddenly pulled out this 12 watt per kilo like sprint at the end of us climbing for 90 minutes. I was like, what?
That's devastating.
Yeah.
I don't. You can't react to that. That's kind of. You're like, bye, see you later. But you do see this group is still really big. I'm hoping we can go back and catch maybe some C's and D's coming through the sprint would be awesome if we can. This front group is going to have until about 10.9 kilometers before they hit the aqueduct climb. So I'd love to get back and see some of the other groups going through. That was a really interesting lead out.
Yeah. And it looks like, some of those B group riders and C group riders that got distance, they're all getting back on. So, probably settle a bit going into the aqueduct for them. I think we're coming back. I see some C riders and some D riders. There's Susan Clark. She's another one of the leaders for the Femme Cycle Collab. I see Kobe Powell. I see Diane Palm. I see Amy Mundasev, Labasi. These are like the who's who of the C and the D's. So so this is a nice big group that looks like they've just gone through the sprint, perhaps.
Oh yeah, we missed it. So they're just too far ahead, which is great. It means that they're covering the course.
Williams in there as well, who we obviously have to give a big shout out to for putting this whole series on. And then getting stuck in and racing.
Yeah, I mean, I I love to see this huge group, and it is interesting to see that they really haven't separated out by category yet. You see a lot of different jerseys in here. Like you don't see any blue Garmin jerseys in here, but you do see, I see the ROCACORBA, I see the Femme Cycle Collab, and I see the Watch the Party ROCACORBA jerseys. So the big group. Let's see. Is there any other big groups? Because this looks like we still have maybe 100 riders behind this, which means they're all going through the sprint. Oh, fire socks going on.
All
right. Yeah, they're already through too. But you do see a lot more of those Tour de France Femme avec Zwift jerseys back here, which is great. So those riders in the 0 to 124, they're either new racers, they're people returning to fitness, or they're women that might be sprinters or might be other sporters, triathletes, somebody coming into the sport. And so it's interesting because they can always be that wild card of, we don't really know. They could be first time on Zwift and suddenly they're moving up 2 categories.
Yeah.
So I think,
and it's great to have that range to, for people to get started, dip their toe in the water, see how it goes.
Yeah. Like if I can give a plug to this jersey, which was designed by an AO rider, Berdine, who is actually in this race. The jersey itself on the back says racer. And for us, it was a really big statement because on Zwift, you can't see if a rider is a woman, and you don't know if they're a racer or if they're a, group rider or what their shtick is. So being able to put on a jersey that says, I'm a female racer, and it doesn't matter whether you're an A racer or an E racer, you're a racer. And so I love to see this jersey out there because it just means, everyone can race. Your grandma can race. Your child can race.
I've seen a lot of love for the jersey, and I know a lot of people have been saying, can they get one in real life? Because they'd love to sport it outside as well on the bike.
Yeah. I actually even built one for Training Peaks, but I haven't opened it yet. So I think just M. Nyquist is rocking it right now.
Right, we're heading up. So we've got our front group coming up towards the aqueduct now, which is down as the Queen of the Mountain section. It's actually, this lead-in is almost steeper than the climb itself. So we can see the group starting to stretch now. So this is a tough little climb up into the segment, and then they'll dip down slightly and then come up again. So we always see it stretch out here. And you can see some people struggling to hold on to the group now. I'm not sure who's pushing the pace on the front because you can't quite see, but it wouldn't surprise me if Anne was one of those up there.
Yeah, I was about to say probably Anne. What I would do if this was a points course and I was in it, Cuthbertson. And Isabella Liz. Yeah. What I would do if in a B field is I would be at the front here. And then as we got into that little downhill / flat segment before the segment starts, I would ease back and let people come over top of me and then use it as a second push here. Yeah. So you see Randy going for it.
Marcel Smithers going.
Look at that. There's Anne too.
Yep, Anne's going as well.
Holy smokes.
Sarah Bishop.
That is fast.
This is fast. Yeah, that's what I said. It's like it's not even a minute climb, so you can see it as literally really a sprint, but it flattens here, so they will come over the top. You can see this here, using the momentum, slingshotting through. This is going to be so close through that segment.
Holy moly, you see a lot of red numbers.
Coming through as well. She's one of our top esports racers. And if anyone doesn't know, you might be seeing some little ticks against people's names. Those are generally the riders who have done the Elite Racing Series, if people are wondering. So you're in a strong field when you're seeing loads of those orange ticks appear.
Yeah, and you see one ROCACORBA Collective jersey in there. That's the category B, but all of these riders are 500 plus. Other than that rider,
wondering who there's two ROCA category B riders have made it over there with the A's. So right, we're back now.
And here comes
Yeah.
The second group, yeah.
Be
which is
interesting to see how
mostly
this one
category
goes.
C.
They're not fish. Oh, someone's coming through here.
Holy
Fast.
moly. Who is that? Yeah.
Yeah, who is that?
That looks like, is that Angie? No.
We're not.
Judith, Gen 2s? Holy
Judith,
moly.
that is a strong sprint up there, isn't it? Let's just put daylight between her and the rest of them.
Yeah, and 8 watts a kilo. Holy moly. I mean, the only thing I would comment on is that was an awesome performance, but the pave sprint is less than a kilometer away.
Yeah.
So she just totally, that's a full gas effort. And I'm sure she got first through the segment for her category on that one. But that's a long way to go. That's a short way to go, rather. That she doesn't have a lot of time to recover.
This one was too close to cool, wasn't it? Like, look at that, and just look at all those red numbers going through.
Yeah, and different people seem to accelerate on the flats than accelerated on the uphill. So very curious to see.
Already into the pave sprint. Ooh. So Pruitt and Smithers are going, and Femme KDZ here as well. Oh, we've seen the dropping of a arrow. Perfect timing there. Look at that.
Double digits from Horner, yeah. I haven't seen a lot of those arrows being used, actually.
No. So it looks like most people are saving it till the finish. So that's going to be quite a shake-up.
But it's all strung out at this point, so.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's so strung out. Oh, we've got, is that a C group jerseys made it in there through that, in the pink there?
That's actually, isn't that a D? I think that might be a Watch the Party. Oh.
Wow, that is impressive to have held on amongst all those jerseys.
Because I think that's the Watch the Party ROCACORBA jersey. That is astonishing. Oh, wait.
Have you noticed how many have got Scotty in their pocket? This is one of my favorite things on Zwift, the little squirrel in your pocket.
You know, I actually took mine out because it covered the R in Racer. Judith, that is insane.
So you were Acer
So it looked like Pacer. Yeah, Pacer or Acer. And I was like, no. That is, look at that distance between her and the group behind her. I'm sure she got FTS. All right, so now we're watching Judith in the pave. Oh, she's out front too.
Yeah. Is she going to be able to hold on with this arrow?
Yeah, the pave actually does slow you down. You don't really notice it until you're on it, but I think using your arrow in this was a good move.
Yeah. Yeah, so people kind of forget, I guess because it's flat cobbles, they don't notice so much, but yeah, it definitely does slow you down, and you can really use the momentum of the other riders to come through here.
Yeah, that was not as dynamic as the aqueduct, for sure. I think people were struggling to recover there. And between now and the Marina Sprint, they've got about 10 kilometers. So
yeah. I was going to say, you can see on the mini map, though, it's like really, really strung out, this group now. So it'll be interesting to see whether these riders ahead are going to push on and try and break that group and reduce their competition, or whether they just need to sit straight up and have some recovery. And this is really where teamwork can come in. You know, if somebody's not a sprinter, they can go through to the front, pull, and give their teammates some recovery behind.
I hope that people are on Discord with each other, because that's something that, you know, I would definitely, I'm that type of person who I know I'm not going to make it a difference in a sprint. So this would be my role, saying, yeah, I can string it out more so that, you know, I can help a teammate.
You can look at all those wheels lighting up and those socks lighting up there. That was some power coming through.
Yeah. And we don't have the results for the first through the segment on here, but we will be able to show them on Zwift Power. You'll be able to find who was the fastest through Zwift Power at the end of the race. So that'll be fascinating to see, actually.
Yeah, so it looks like our groups have settled a little bit now.
Because they're all tired. I'd be tired.
Well, yeah, well, that's the thing, you know, like I said, on paper, this looks like quite an easy course, but the sprints come, because it's such a fast course, the sprints come just one after the other, and you think, oh, I've got 3 kilometers rest, I've got 5 kilometers rest, and you actually don't have that much rest.
No, yeah, especially with how fast you're rolling after those segments.
And so we're back up with the front group now, and although this section of the course is flat, it's quite twisty, which again, I think some people don't or forget on Zwift, that the corners can actually throw you out a little bit, so you've got to be paying attention at all times, because you can really easily slip off the back if the pace increases as the group goes around a corner. I mean, look at those riders in shot. You can see the concentration and the effort on their faces, even though they're just it looks like they're rolling along at the moment, but they are working hard.
Yeah. And so I know Randy's a sprinter and Jen is a time trialist. I'm not sure what Sam's power profile is, but interesting to see, how they're all focused for sure, but how they're taking this course.
Yeah.
As different types of riders.
Their heart rates are indicating they're all working pretty hard as well.
Oh, yeah.
We can see that. We can see that this is a hard race for everyone. So it'll be really interesting seeing, in this section, whether anyone tries to attack to go long for this, for the finish, if they're not confident in their sprint into that finish line. And just as I said that, we see someone going off the front. I did not know that was going to happen. So
you called it.
I called it. Liz is actually a rider who I'm not too familiar with. She seems fairly new, but I noticed she's been dipping into some of the Femme cycle collab races, like the other smaller ones. So looks really, really strong.
Yeah. And Synergy, she's on Synergy as well. And it looks like Synergy has really gotten a bunch of 500 plus women together, and they work together pretty well, even in individual races where there's no team component. So Kunz as well. Maybe they'll work together to try to
see Sarah Bishop chasing it down. She loves the time trial too. Sarah Bishop and Nevin there. Maria Marb too is another really strong one. So yeah, they closed that down quickly. They were paying attention, but wouldn't surprise me.
And you see Rianne up there too. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rianne has she's just done a stage race as well. So she has magic legs tonight.
Seriously. I mean, I guess you can do anything for 30 minutes, but that's to be in the top group through that is, she must be in the hurt locker.
Yeah, definitely.
So looking at Sam Smith, who's the other rider that we have on that profile, it looks like she's more of a time trialist as well. So and she rides for ROCACORBA.
Yeah, this group has really, really thinned down. So I think when we weren't watching them on that descent, we can see there's another group about 14 seconds back. I suspect it split after that QOM on the descent.
Yeah, I mean, when I race this, because I'm not a sprinter, I always push through the top of that aqueduct and into the downhill, because the pave sprint starts like a half a kilometer after the end of the aqueduct, and it's downhill. So if you've got momentum, you can really cause a split there off the front, and I bet that's what happened here.
Yeah. And you can just see, that the rider did well to get back on there. And again, here, you see the riders pushing at the front just on a very slight undulations. It's really stringing it out and making it harder for those riders at the back. And I think, that's something that's come in a bit more with the new pack dynamics as well.
Yeah. I'm fascinated to see what's going to happen with ZRL, because it definitely is different, and you definitely need to practice it, because you can't move in the same way, especially for sprinters, actually.
Yeah.
Right here is the biggest momentum killer of this flat course. So 18.4, there's a tiny hill that it doesn't really amount to anything, but it will slow you down. So you can see they got a little strung out there.
Yeah. It should come back together around the corner, but if anyone's not paying attention, they can quickly be out the back. And again, it looks like someone's pushing up the front again. There's definitely riders that do not want this to come down to a bunch sprint, and they're going to try everything they can, I think. to break it up, or even just to tire out the legs of, you know, those pure sprinters, keep them having to work a little bit harder than they want to. So this point is kind of about using, you know, thinking about what your strengths are and then using them wisely.
So if you could give a piece of advice, if you could give a piece of advice to Anne right now, what would it be?
She needs to go hard with about 5 minutes to go, probably, because she's not got a pure sprint, but she's got a very good 5-minute power. And if she can break them, the finish of this course is like difficult to get right because you think it's coming sooner than it does. So some people go too early, but Anne could go what others think is too early and hold on.
Yeah, because she's just a badass. I that's awesome advice, and I wish she could hear us right now. Oh, there's Nina off in front of
us. This is a little bit too
she's early. Doing it. Maybe she heard you. Look at her.
No, this is a little bit too early. She wants to go with like 3 kilometers to go, so she's still got to wait a little bit more.
Okay. I was about to say maybe she had the broadcast on and she's like, Alice tells me to do it. I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I do find it fascinating to see the different jerseys in that second group. This front group is like all straight up killers. And this second group is like a mixture of killers and triathletes and time trialists. So it's a fascinating difference. Ooh, who's off the front?
I don't know, but they keep firing, don't they? You can see it's just attack after attack after attack. There's Maria Marv that time that went. Again, she's a bit of a time trial.
And Jamie Chase is in there too. We talked about her at the beginning. She's a really strong time trialist, but she's not a sprinter. So this is fascinating that she's still in it.
Yeah, and you know, for the sprinters, they've got to keep calm. If you're confident in your sprint at this point, you've got to not chase and just rely on others to bring it back and hope that, you know, no one gets away. Because you don't want to burn your matches chasing. So for the teams with more riders in there, it's a really good tactic to be throwing people off the front and trying to force others to chase.
Yeah, so maybe that's a synergy move, because I see at least 3 of them, at least actually 4 of them in this group. So they're probably working that tactic intentionally.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can go back and catch anybody else before we see the finish. So we kind of can see the top 120, but I'd love to go back and see if there's any other big groups too. Sorry, Damon, we're just going to make it as hard as possible for you to capture all the action, because I love watching action, whether it's the beginning of the race or the front or the back of the race, because it doesn't matter how fast you're going because it's an avatar in a virtual world.
Yeah. So this is interesting here. It looks like we've got a breakaway of 2 from this group who've got quite a good little gap there. But the pack are responding. You can see they want to chase them down and not let them get away.
Yeah, it's that. That's always a fascinating thing to watch, whether to chase them down or not, because you know, they don't really care if it's 2 seconds maybe, because the pack will just roll over them at the finish line. But if they get any further ahead, then they enter that danger zone of, can you actually close it in the last kilometer?
Like we've gone back to another group and someone's had the exact same strategy, gone at the same point. We can see one rider ahead off the front, just using those slight undulations and those corners to break the elastic in the group.
Yeah, and you
just get that little gap.
Yeah. And you see Carla holding on to the back of this group, but she's right off the back, right at that point that elastic might snap. So she's just going to come back in there. Carla has an awesome sprint, so she's just going to be trying to save her energy as much as possible. You know, she stays in that group. I expect to see her come through at the finish. Yeah, as long as she can hold on. I do think that this pack dynamic also has a different elastic snap. At least it seems like it on TTTs, where once you're gone, you're gone. And she really doesn't want to lose the pack here.
No. It's about finding that really fine line between where you've got the draft and where you're putting out more energy than you need to.
Yeah. Oh, here's Vanette. Vanette's another one of the Femme Collab leaders. So she helps put together a lot of women's series. Actually, she just practiced elimination races. So she manually did an elimination race test, which was pretty fascinating to be part of.
Yeah, definitely, because I know that's something a lot of people have been keen to have on Zwift for a long time. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it would be great to see it.
Front group to see what's going on there. They'll be coming up to the finish line now. Yeah, here we go. So this, you know, right. This is where I want Anne, where Anne needs to make her move if she wants to go long.
Come on, Anne. We should be able to like draw.
Look, it's the
wait, that's Quince again.
Quince again. Yeah, she's really like, just like going and going and going.
Yeah, how does she?
She's got a pretty good gap there.
Yeah,
especially with
7 point.
Going,
yeah. And those are 3 synergy. Oh, 4 synergy off the front. That's definitely a group tactic. Prochnow and Liz also were in the Femme Cycle Collab, so they've been practicing their team tactics a lot. Look at this, 4 or 3.
This is a very dangerous move because once they're together, once they're on the wheel, that gap can open to those behind. The riders behind have got to close it down now, or they're going to leave it too late. Not really seeing, in terms of numbers, not seeing so much reaction from behind yet.
Yeah, but this is also an FTS segment, so having the sprint, the finish be a segment is interesting because nobody wants to go because everyone wants those FTS points.
Here we go. So yeah, gobbled up slightly, but there's still, you know, still some people just waiting.
Come on, Anne.
It's really interesting to see. Oh, we've got early
there's
power up.
Yeah, 500 meters to go. That is early. And now it's just a reaction of everybody's just throwing their arrows.
I don't know who it is, but that rider who accelerated here, who's hit the front now, Jill Pruitt.
Yeah, Jill.
Yeah. She used that
power
so well because she used it as she accelerated. But it looks like Pranchi's going to come over the top, maybe. Or yeah.
And Horner coming fast behind. Yeah. So you do get finish line points and you get FTS for the race. So it'd be interesting to see what people's strategies were there. That was an interesting move by Synergy. Good to watch them over the next couple weeks to see if they continue trying those team tactics. It is deadly to have team tactics being played out in an individual race because many teams might not even be thinking about it, right? They're not on the line. They're not talking through it together.
No. So we're hitting the sprint with this group now as well. And they stayed much closer together coming into that. It was much cagier through to the finish. And you can see all those power-ups at once. So this is really going to be about who accelerates around this corner best.
Yeah. Oh, you see Amy Young. Come on, Amy. Come on, Dee. Oh, I see. Lots of coalition ladies in here. Hard to see who got FTS on that one, though.
Yeah, definitely.
You definitely saw some of those A's coming in hot.
Yeah. So we got another little cagey run in here by the looks of things.
Yeah. I did think it was interesting how early people press that power up because the final segment is long and longer than the power up. And there's that corner. So you really want that arrow around the corner, right? I mean, that would be my thinking if I saved it for there.
Yeah, and you want to use the power-ups actually to your strengths as well. So it speeds you up and you want it to like accelerate you when you're accelerating as well. So for some riders, if they can sprint and raise their sprint at the end, they want to hit it later. But if you're not a sprinter, a bit more like me, you might hit it a bit earlier. Yeah.
And so you would use it to accelerate?
Yeah, I would use it to accelerate because I don't have that punch, whereas somebody who can punch a bit more will want to hit it.
Might use it once they're up to speed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. Look at how strung out this is, but nobody's used their power-ups yet. It hasn't. Oh, there's one. Oh, there's 2. All right, here it goes.
Yes.
500 meters to go.
Woo! Yes, they've used them really far back here.
Oh.
But look at this.
Oh, Damien, you know who that is? Who's
I
that
don't know
going
who
all the
it
way
is,
through?
but that is an awesome sprint.
Holy crap. Oh, that's Judith
Oh,
again.
look at this over the top.
Wow.
And you can see that was a real sprint by the way the avatar moved and dipped the head down there. That was a phenomenal acceleration from that rider.
Yeah, I wonder if that's going to see her moving up in the categories. Because right now she's in that Femme Cycle Collab kit, which means she's in the Cat C, 250 to 375. That's...
Yeah. So we've got another interesting use here. You see a power up someone going long. This is maybe someone who's not so confident in their sprint, and they're just trying to steal a march. They're trying to get those gaps. Because it's a psychological game as well. People panic when they see those gaps. So sometimes getting a gap, and again, like for certain riders, they will get a better position, a better finish by actually going early and kind of getting overtaken than if they try and wait for a shorter sprint.
Yeah. Oh, there's Carla. Oh, and we see some of that head down action as well.
Yeah.
But the women in this group are really taking it probably for not FTS if they're in the Femme Cycle Collab, right? Because they know that they likely.
Lot of fire socks there as well. There were a lot of fire socks in that group.
And the fire socks. Oh man, look at that sprint. Who's that coming through?
I think that was
Pruitt.
Through there, yeah.
Wow. That was amazing. And look, she's got a disc wheel.
Randy Gino as well. Look at that effort going through.
Wow. She's really jerking on those handlebars. That's like that sprinter mentality. I'm like, nope, I don't do it. I don't ever see that position. Don't even know it. Way above my head. The head down, jerking on the handlebars. I'm like, how do you see where you're going? I don't know. How do you know when it ends? It's fascinating to me. Like actual sprinters doing their thing. I just look at it in awe and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, outside.
Like
I do prefer sprinting on Zwift to outside because outside it is definitely scary being in a bunch sprint at the finish.
Oh yeah. This is why I don't race outside. I'm like, no, I like my bones where they are. I like my skin where it is. Carlo cooling down. Look at that. She looks like she's sinking into the tarmac.
That's probably how she feels after that sprint. Yeah. I'm sure her legs feel like they want to sink into the tarmac. But really exciting racing.
Yeah, that was awesome. I wonder if we've got, do we have anybody else on the course? I know we are just about the time that we should see the D's and the E's finishing. And I wonder if it may have just been faster than we thought because Zwift Insider said around 33 minutes for the A's and around 44 minutes at 2 watts a kilo. So I'm wondering if we have anybody left on course. And once it gets down to onesie twosies, it's a tough battle to finish a course by yourself.
Yeah, definitely. So it looks like I'm just getting they're currently sort of live, not confirmed results yet, but does not surprise me to see that one of the B group riders up in that front group was Kerry Poole. She's been doing a lot of racing with the men in some series over the summer, so she's got some really, really good experience of racing with stronger riders, and that's definitely shown today in how she's ridden. I think they're holding on to that group above her.
Oh, for sure. And do you know who the other B rider was up there?
Yeah, so it looks like there was a couple of B who started in the B. Jem Thompson from ROCACORBA finished in that front group. Lan Ngo, I think it is another ROCACORBA rider, and Maria Nyberg from EFRT was another B group who stayed up with that front group. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they move up now, because those are impressive performances.
Yeah, to stay in that group definitely would have been a painful endeavor.
Yeah,
and I think next week we will probably go over the standings, and so at the beginning of the broadcast next week we'll talk through what the finishes for this week were, and And then next week, actually, we've got like special prizes for some of the segments. So that'll be an added element of interest where, you know, if you win a certain segment within a race, then you get an actual prize. And I think you've been part of the elite races where they do that. You know, they had the
So it adds
a
a whole new element, because you might not be someone who's confident in like amassing those segments again and again, but you might think, I've got this one effort in me. And it's a really nice thing to have in community racing, because it really opens the prizes to more people, to people who maybe wouldn't get to the finish and as sort of normally maybe a little bit disheartened with their racing, but actually they can win something, they can contribute. And also it allows more team tactics as well, because, you know, you can target a certain prize for one of your members.
Yeah. I mean, I think that community level racing is not the place that usually gets any spotlight, like usually no broadcasting for any amount of time, because people want to see people that they can't race like, right? Like I love to race to watch you, for instance, when you race, Miss, because I think it's awesome and I think it's fascinating, but it's also fascinating to watch community level racing, especially when you see retired racers, people in their 60s.
And people want to see their friends. And I think one of the loveliest things I've seen when there's been community racing broadcast is actually kids watching it back with their mum or dad afterwards, and just getting really excited to like see mum or dad racing on the screen. And that just inspires another generation, doesn't it? And that's, you know, one of the things that ROCACORBA is about as well, is, you know, bringing youngsters through. So hopefully we'll have families having watched this tonight, or go back and watch, you know, on the TV later.
Yeah, and next week you can't do it because you have to go back to work, which is super sad. And because every time you say something on these broadcasts, I'm like, oh yeah, no, that's right. I hadn't thought about that. Next week we may have a special guest, Ashley Molman-Pasillo. And if we don't get Ashley, we might have an awesome James Bailey. So we will try to fill your huge shoes to fill, Alice. And I know we can't, but thank you for joining us this week.
That's okay. Well, thank you for having me. And thank you to all the racers for like putting on such a good show tonight. That was really good to watch.
It was amazing. And thanks for Damon for capturing as much as you could of that magic. And hopefully next week we can see even more, because next week it's a little longer race, Gentile 8, and it'll be a different type of course for sure. So
a new course as well. So lots of people won't have raced on that before.
Yeah. I'm actually happy I'm not racing that one. This one, I was like, oh, maybe I would like it. Next week, no. All right, so I think we're ready to close it out. And I should have asked Damon how I do that. See, Reese is always like heckling me and saying like, you have to wait until this, Becca, and blah, 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 blah. But I don't actually listen to him. So that's the problem. Now I don't know. Okay. He says we just have to say goodbye.
We should say bye. So have a good afternoon, morning, evening, day, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for joining us, Alice. That was awesome. Thanks to Damon. Thanks to Carla. Thanks to Rianne for putting this on. It's a great series. And I hope to see everybody out there next week. Okay.
Bye.